Smith is one of the coldest, calculative, and most determined villains in movie history. His contempt for humanity made him the greatest threat the Matrix universe has ever seen. However, in his final confrontation against Neo in Matrix Revolutions, we see how Smith went from being in control to feeling something he never did before: fear.
Get away from me!
Today we will look at why Smith was afraid of Neo and how that fear may influence Smith in Matrix 5. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
This case of deja vu is brought to you by Warner Brothers and their copyright claim on our original video. Thank you. In the climactic battle in the Matrix Revolutions, Smith knocks Neo out, but when Neo gets back up, Smith becomes afraid. Reasons as to why Smith reacts this way range from his nature as an agent to the Oracle's meddling. In the beginning, Agent Smith was portrayed as having a high level of intelligence and hatred for humanity. He wanted to escape the simulation, and he once called humanity a virus.
A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
The most important thing that Smith mentions in the first movie is his reason for hating the Matrix.
I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand it any longer. It's the smell, if there is such a thing. I feel saturated by it. I can taste your stink. And every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it.
As we've mentioned in previous videos, Neo and Agent Smith's paths were similar. The Oracle mentioned that Smith is Neo's opposite. Neo begins as a human trapped inside a simulation, eventually becoming more machine-like with his superhuman abilities. Smith, on the other hand, started as a machine program that became more human than machine by the end of the third movie. Agent Smith showed emotions long before Neo copied part of the anomaly's code into him. Smith compares humans to a disease. Smith's description ironically applies to what he will eventually become in The Matrix Reloaded and onwards. Under his definition, he had become a virus that could only survive by spreading from one place to another. Smith turned into the one thing he hated the most: a human. The more power Smith gains, the more human he becomes. The answer as to why Smith was afraid of Neo stems from the Merovingian and the Oracle. Smith had become incredibly powerful after assimilating the Oracle, but Neo was still more powerful because he finally understood that the end of the cycle had come. To understand this, we must go back to the moment when Neo met the Merovingian. The Frenchman believes that power is knowing everything. For him, Neo was someone without power because he did not know the why.
Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless.
The Merovingian knows that the Oracle hides information to maintain power, and Neo would eventually ask the Oracle why.
Then why didn't you tell me about the Architect? Why didn't you tell me about Zion and the ones before me? Why didn't you tell me the truth?
The eyes of the Oracle are the most powerful weapon in the Matrix. With them, one can predict future events to a certain extent, but even this powerful weapon has its drawbacks. One cannot see beyond the choices they do not understand. Neo had developed the same power as the Oracle, but could not see past Trinity's death because he did not understand at the time why he should choose between saving her or humanity. This weakness of the Oracle's eyes is what she used to defeat Smith.
I told you before, no one can see beyond a choice they don't understand. And I mean no one.
Smith foresaw that he defeated Neo, but didn't see what would happen next because he couldn't understand Neo's choice to continue fighting. much less why Neo would allow himself to be assimilated. Smith can't see past Neo's choices because he doesn't understand the why, just like the Merovingian said, and so Smith asks Neo, why?
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why? Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting?
Smith asks why at least 6 times, and Neo's answer is not necessarily logical.
Because I choose to.
Let's stop for a second and analyze Neo's response. Smith is asking why because he cannot comprehend Neo's illogical decision that he fights because he chooses to. The Merovingian helps make sense of this situation. Although Smith had all the powers in the world, he had no power against Neo because Smith had reached that point without ever asking why. Neo knows why he fights after he finally realizes that the Oracle has everything planned. While Neo was on the ground, defeated, Smith said a few words that sounded familiar to him.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
Neo realized that everything was happening according to what the Oracle had said, and like the fortune teller, he must also make a sacrifice. Neo knew that it was the only way to stop Smith, by using the former agent's ignorance against him, and that scared Smith.
What are you afraid of?
Smith suspected that it was a trap, but he ignored his instincts, pretty sure he didn't know what a gut feeling was, and so he assimilated Neo without hesitation. Just like he did with the Oracle, he made the same mistake twice. The eyes of the Oracle worked against him. The Oracle gave Smith his one weakness, and Neo exploited it and destroyed the virus.
No, it's not fair.
Interesting how Smith's last words in Matrix 3 are of him being in denial. Something that the architect mentioned was humanity's most predictable emotion.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
In the end, Smith became what he hated the most, a human being driven by emotions of hatred, selfishness, and denial. The Oracle effectively used her weakness to stop Smith. Her strategy worked, but it was a very risky plan, since she couldn't see what the outcome could have been.
You played a very dangerous game.
Change always is.
The Merovingian was right. If we do not understand the why of things, we are powerless. It always seemed like the Oracle was in control of all events in secret. She knew how to keep everyone in the dark. This is why Smith could not understand what was happening, thus fear overpowered him. Smith's experience after assimilating the Oracle may have been what compelled him to help Neo in Matrix Resurrections. Smith may be still looking for that why. He is the Oracle's trump card against the inevitable reign of the Analyst. Perhaps the Analyst also doesn't understand the why either, and that's why he couldn't fully control Smith. As long as the Oracle controls the why, we will never know the truth. Maybe in Matrix 5, we, as well as Smith and the Analyst, will finally get the answer to the why. But do you agree? Why do you think Smith was afraid of Neo? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.